this is an example of the same kind of process where this form was created in wood. I took a mold of it and cast it in wax and manipulated the wax to cast it in metal. So I'm interested in, there's a kind of form that's arrived at through working in wood, and the kind of tooling available to work in wood. And so this retains that. This ends up having literally marks of my hand from twisting it and distorting it. And those things, they're the same object, but they exist in two different worlds. And then how are they connected physically, but also how are those different moments or times of interest connected? This part, I don't really know why I've been doing this, but it feels really good. So the last 4 years I've been using a lot of silk cord, and then there's a repetitious process of knotting it. And my work isn't figural. I don't consider it to be about the figure, but a lot of my physical proportions are in here. So this space is the first 2 digits of my left hand. That's that space. So even though the work maybe doesn't look like a body, there's evidence, I guess, of the human body in the making. So I think about that. This will be the last sculpture I'll show you today. A lot of my work is about liking to do something, and then in terms of working with materials. So I really enjoy working with wood. That's probably my favorite material. But it's limiting, and it doesn't always fit the ideas that I'm thinking about. So there's a tension between going where my mind wants to go and then going where my body can follow. And so the silk cord in here is really a reinterpretation of that cast rubber. And I think it's about something similar. I'm not quite sure. I'm really interested in how this is flexible, and then anytime I set the sculpture up, it's different. To our eye, this is the same, although we know molecularly it's not. It's changing. But I'm interested in the way that this kind of randomness activates this metal shape, or could activate it. I think that's everything. Here's the review in case you missed anything. And then we're down here. Anyone have any questions?
John?
Yeah.
I have a question about the fact that you don't actually walk around your sculptures. The ones that are on the walls, obviously, when you make bigger sculptures outside, I'm just noticing you don't really see the back, but you do see those shapes that kind of give you a feel that you're seeing it a little more three-dimensional.
Yeah, one thing I didn't talk about today, I tried to think about what did I want to talk about that would benefit me and hopefully benefit you. So there's a lot of things I chose not to talk about. All the work I've made since maybe 1999, one of the concepts I'm interested in is having it refer to relief sculpture. So everything's flat, only it's a two-sided relief. So it's kind of like a three-dimensional form that's condensed. And so because of that, it isn't necessarily important to me that it's experienced fully in the round, because the sculpture itself isn't in the round.
Right, no, I think it's great the way, the way it is. It looks nice. And
So that's one answer,
It's not
right?
really necessary.
That's like the high-minded answer. The low-minded answer would be people really buy small sculpture that's on a wall.
Comments also. I mean, he said questions, but if you have comments or reactions and you want to say something, that also is open for that.
Go back to the review.
John, you're talking about multiple audiences.
Yeah.
What at the moment is the process for you begin to relate that this sculpture is going to have a convergence? Like, are you addressing that audience in the middle?
No, I don't
in the
think
base
about
of
it.
that process?
So, when I'm working in the studio, there are a lot of things I don't think about. In terms of audience, I don't think about that when my sculpture's on exhibit. And then it's like a mild identity crisis. Because a lot of times what I think will be successful is a failure and vice versa. But I don't know that until I can see the work as someone else sees it, meaning it's out in the world. So that's the painful part. Yeah. I mean, it's not, I consider it at times, but I don't, but not when I'm working. Yeah.
I noticed that partway through the actual, I don't want to say tables, but the actual base started to change, especially with dissolution. You have a round table that complements the sculpture. And then for the final case study, you have formation, which is an octagon shape.
Yeah.
Was that?
Those are things I've saw in lithographs and intaglio prints of alchemical studios. They're not directly related, but they're inspired by. Some of the other tables or supports are more like, I don't know, vernacular, like workbench, without the same historical reference. That's one of the things I do is I have interests and ideas, and I try to figure those things out in the making of the work, and so I don't necessarily resolve everything ahead of time. So I'm using different sources that I see as similar. Maybe other people don't. This is how it is. Yeah. Plus, I get bored making the same thing.
I was thinking, since all the galleries that you show at, do they range from different heights then? Would your bases, like,
They're all
say,
about 3 feet or a little less. But I mean, I think about that when I'm working in my studio, is making them different so that when I have a one-person show, I want variety, not just all the same. For a minute, I thought about making them all the same. Then that seemed to be defeat the purpose.
yeah, they're static.
Yeah. Other questions?
John, I noticed in the majority of the pieces where you use pliable and soft or fragile type materials with more rigid metals and so on, that basically they're touching, but they're not integrated. Is there something you're saying?
I would like to have them fully integrated. I'm not at a point where I could do that.
I just wondered if there was some reason why
I'd like to have
maintain
them
their
fully
separate
integrated.
identity.
Yeah, that's one of my own limitations as an artist. So in about 2005, I started using fabric in my work. I don't invest the same amount of time in working the soft material as I do with the hard materials. Is that a problem? Maybe, but it does affect how the finished sculpture appears. It's not an equal amount of time at all. That's one of those things where I've noticed that I decided to not think about that, or to get to that later. That's like on my to-do list later.
What I found interesting in it, though, is that they maintain, you were talking about realities, and they maintain their own personal identity, reality, and yet they still feel integrated because of the way you have set them. I found that.
I think at times they do, but at times at times, it's like creating an illusion that you shift slightly and the whole thing falls apart. And it seems maybe, to me it seems